In this video we're going to look at vertical pop-out menus, and to do that we want to open up the file that came in the zip, the one named vertical. Now this is going to be a little bit different than the one that we just looked at. We have a divider that contains several ULs, 3 different ULs as a matter of fact. One for category 3, category 2, and vertical pop-out menu. Inside of this then, the first one has one list item. That's what's actually going to show. So the first list item actually has an H2 and then an unordered list where the one list item that is here is going to show as well. So that'll be the permanent one on the left hand side. Now this is where things get complicated. We're going to go to the third nested UL, or the third UL, second one that's nested. This is going to be the first level of pop-outs. This particular one is going to have 3. The second one is going to have 2 more additional pop-outs. So this is actually 3 levels of menu, 2 popping out. One pops out from the other. The second one is set up the same way, has first list item, and that's just a header with a category. Then a UL with, in this case, 2 LIs. The second LI has a pop out. That pop out also has 1 item listed, and it has an additional 3 that are going to pop out of that. In category 3, here's our main UL. The first LI has category 3. Listed underneath of that will be 2 more LIs, where the second one has a pop out with 1 item popping out, and that will have an additional 3 items popping out. A little confusing. Let's look at what this is going to look like at the end so you understand a little bit better how this is popping out. So here's the way it's going to appear in its final version, and you can see all the LIs that I said would be listed there. What's in black are the H2s. Well, this pop out 5 has 1 pop out, and if I hover over that, it has 3 more pop outs. So we're going 2 levels here. This one has 1 and 3. This one has 3, and the second one has 3 more. So this is our ultimate goal. Where we're starting out is it's looking like this. Again, these list items are going to be bold and have that black background. The first level underneath that, which is actually the second UL, is going to have those, and so on. So we need to do some work here, obviously. First thing we're going to do is set the width for this. So we're going to use this divider to contain this menu, and by doing a width on that divider container, we will control the width of the menu. So we're going to set a width in here, and I'm going to set this to 12 EMs. That's going to take care of anybody who's got something set differently. It'll adjust and shrink based on the size of the font. And we'll set a background color. I'm just going to use the background shortcut here, pound EEE. The first thing we're going to do then is remove the bullets and indents that the browsers normally apply to ULs. So we've seen that in the last menu you went through with me. And here we're going to do pound menu UL. Any UL that's a descendant of the menu. And we'll set the list style. Getting lazy in this one. I'll use the shortcut and just set that to none. That'll get rid of the markers. Set the padding to 0 and the margin to 0. So that'll get us started. Then we want to make the H2 headings and the anchors appear in the same size text with borders but slightly differing colors to differentiate between the two. This is also where we're going to add some colors and some background changes to the anchor text on the hover. So my first selector to do this is going to be pound menu A, comma, on the next line I'll put pound menu space H2. I'm going to use a group selector here because there's a lot of things that I'm doing in common for both of these, so I might as well get it done in one place and not have to type it twice. The first thing I'm going to do is use the font shortcut. And I'm not sure if we mentioned this, I think I did, but if not, this just takes all the font settings that you would have, all the font properties, and molds it into one. So we're going to make this as bold. We're going to use 11 pixels on the size and use a / then and 16 pixels. That 16px is the line height. So it's going to be 11 pixels in size, and the line height is going to be 16 pixels. We're then going to set the fonts, Arial, Helvetica, and sans serif. Almost everybody has one of those. So here's the key to this shortcut. You can use any of the fonts you want. You can do the font variant in here. You can do the font weight as you see. You can do them all. All you need to do is put the values in for them. But for this shortcut, the size and font must come last. The size and font family, they must come last. For the fonts, you merely separate each choice by a comma. You don't use commas anywhere else. And that's the shortcut for a font. Then we're going to set a border width. We use the longhand here instead of the shortcut. The border width is going to be 1 pixel. Then we're going to set the border style. It's going to be solid. The border color, it's going to be pound CCC, pound 888, pound 555, pound BBB. What did I just do there? We didn't talk about this in the book, but those same rules that we use for padding and margin and everything else apply here. One value gets applied to all 4 sides. 2 values, the first value gets applied top and bottom, the second right and left. 3 value, the first one gets applied top and bottom, second one right, third one left. 4 values, top, right, bottom, left. So we're setting each side of this to a different color, and I threw that in there just to add something different. Then we're going to set the margin to 0, get rid of it, and we're going to set the padding to 2 pixels top and bottom and 3 pixels right and left. Now those are things that are common between the anchor tag and the H2, but now there's things that are not common. So pound menu H2. The things that are not common with the anchor tag here that we want to set for this is that we want to change the color to white. Then we want to change the background color using the shortcut here to black. Then we want to set the text transformation, which will control, or actually it's transform, which will control the case to uppercase. In the anchor tag, the things we want to do specific to that, first of all, we're going to display this as block. Talked about that twice already, so I don't need to reiterate that. Change the color to black, and get rid of the text decoration. Then we want to set the anchor tag for when we're in the hover state. So it's pound menu A:hover. And when we're hovering, we're going to change the color to pound A:00, and we're going to change the background to pound FFF. So now we've got that part done. Let's see what changes we've actually made here. Refresh our page. Now we've got it. We've at least got something that looks right. The only thing is, everything is here. In this first section, the only thing that should be here is pop out 1. In the second section, only pop out 2 and 3 should be here. So just like the other one, we need to start hiding some things. We need to start positioning them and hiding them. So back to our HTML. The next thing we want to do then is to move the third level nested list out to where they should be, to their pop-out positions. And we're going to do this with absolute positioning. Pound menu UL UL UL. Any UL that's a descendant of 2 other ULs, we're going to position them then absolute, set the top to 0 and the left to 0. So basically, why we're going 3 levels down here, we don't want to move the first level, which is the one that contains the H2 headers, nor the second level, which are top level choices. So we need to use CSS specifically to select only that UL element that already has at least the 2 parents. So let's take a look at this again. Save that. Refresh. And now all the submenus are gone, but they're all up here, not exactly where we want them. Not only are they up here where we don't want them, but they're no longer the right size. We wanted them to be the same size as all these. That's no longer true. So we can actually fix both those problems together. The first step that we need to take to fix that is these are all being placed relative to the document again, because none of the parents or ancestors have positioning. We want these positioned because of the way we've got this formatted here. We want them positioned based on these LIs. So I'm going to create another selector here. I'm going to put it above this one, pound menu LI, and all we're going to do in here is give it a position and make it relative. This again. And now we've got them down on the place where they should be, but they're at the left hand side. We want them out over here. So we need to make a second adjustment that I talked about, and that's to our menu UL UL UL. We're going to add 2 values. Well, we're going to add 1 value. We're going to change the width to 100%. That's 100% of its parent, which is that list item. We're also going to make the position here 100%. The 100% represents the value of its parent, which is the 12 EM. So by adding that width and changing this value for the left to 100%, we then will have them popping out where we expect them to be. Now we have them all out where we expect them to be. The only problem now is, do we really want all these to be there? No, we don't want them to be there. So we need to hide them. Hiding it's pretty simple. To the same selector that we were just working with, we'll do a display none. Now, when we refresh this, all those external menus, the pop-outs are gone. But just like the last time, now I have no pop-outs. I can't see them at all. So we need to get these to reappear. We need to make a selector so that when the second level LI is hovered, that its child appears for us. So go back to our code again. We're going to add another one. Pound menu, UL, get us past those first two that we don't want to do anything with, and then an LI in that hover state. And what are we styling? The UL after that. So this then, we're just going to do a display block. Save that. Take another look at it. Hover over it. We get them popping out. But we're getting them all to pop out. Not just the first level, but the second level is popping out as well. This is where child selectors come into play. Otherwise, we'd have to create a second selector here to make this even more complicated, but we can do this with a child selector. Instead of a descendant here, we change this to a child. Save it. Take another look. And now we only have the first level popping out, and if we were to go into the third level, we get that as well. So now we've got the pop-outs working exactly the way we want them to.